Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Dan Illman, Mike Buer taking a look at race number 7 at Santa Anita on Sunday. Graded stakes race for the sprinters. The G3 Palos Verdes, $200,000 is the purse. Let's take a look at this field. 2-1 on the morning line for the 3. Howbeit, 2 on the Grade 2 Santa Anita Sprint Championship in a head bob over the venerable veteran CZ Rocket. He still has a lot to prove, I think, from a class perspective. Mike, coming off a little bit of a layoff.
Yeah, a little bit of a layoff. He's got a lot of experience. He's run, several fast races, Dan, and I guess you could just argue that if he's the one that shows up and runs his best race, that maybe he's just better than these horses, but I don't think he has, some kind of huge edge.
He's more of a mid-pack to late runner. Let's see where Timeform US has him on their Timeform US pace projector. No surprise, straight no charm from the rail. Hopkins, these two are quick out of the gate. We do see Howbeit in mid-pack range. Straight no chaser was denied the lead last time out, was sort of hung wide in the Malibu, did a lot of running through the turn and into the stretch. If he gets the lead in here, he might be long gone.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if he gets it either, Dan. I mean, he showed an awful lot of speed on his dirt debut 2 starts back. To me, they didn't try for the lead last time. And I'm not saying that that was a mistake, but it was pretty clear to me watching it when he broke the gate from the outside that his rider had absolutely no interest in setting this horse for the lead. They decided to sit and let Forbidden Kingdom cut that pace. This horse actually ran pretty well in the Malibu.
I agree, talking a little bit more about the 1 straight no chaser, because he did break super in the Malibu. And the next thing you know, he's just hung out 4 wide, and he was right alongside Taba at about the 3/16 pole. He tired. He was on his left lead fine. Taba's arguably the best horse in the country right now. Straight no chaser stayed with him to the 3/16, and there are no Tabas in here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dan. They consciously rated this horse last time, but he moved right with Taba all the way around the turn and then fought that horse through the stretch as they both sort of took over the lead from Forbidden Kingdom. Straight no chaser, unfortunately for him, he's just not that kind of horse right now. He got pretty tired late, but he did a lot of racing in the Malibu.
The number 2 Hopkins has obviously had his share of issues. He's 5 years old. He's only raced 6 times, but all his sprints are good. The one bad race came the one time they tried to go long with him. Here's his most recent effort. They cut him all the way back to 3/4 of a mile, the rare wet track in Southern California. This is a second level allowance race, and he's very game, but he's going to drop a head decision.
Right. I mean, he runs fine in here, Dan. I don't know that this is the kind of race, though, that you would want to use to say, take him as one of the favorites in this race as they step him up in class again, because as well as he ran in here, he didn't really have any excuse as the favorite. The horse that wound up beating him just sort of stayed with him, matching on the pace and outfinished him at the end. This horse had no excuse last time, but he ran fine.
Mark Glatton, the Connections, have done a great job with the number 3, Howbeit. They claimed this horse for $32,000 back in 2021. They got the graded stakes win in the Santa Anita Sprint 2 starts back. And while he didn't run in a stakes race per se last time out, that was a stakes level allowance at Del Mar where he ran 4th. Get Her Number came back, ran a good second in the Cigar Mile with a 99. You had Ginobili in that race. This horse fits very well. He's tactical enough. I'm not sure I love him as the favorite. Maybe he won't be the favorite.
Yeah, all those things are true. That's, to me, would be the most interesting thing, is to see how they bet this race. If it does come down to Howbeit being 2-1 and favored in this race, then I would have no problem betting against him. But if he does somehow drift and somebody else takes the money, he can obviously win this race.
As good as the number 4 Escape Route was 2 starts back at Keeneland, battling with several other horses for the early lead and then finishing a good second, he was that bad in his subsequent start at Churchill Downs, where he never got out of first gear and basically raced near the back of the pack. Now, something must have happened in that race, because we haven't seen him since June. He's eligible for a second level allowance, but Mike, we see 4-horse graded stakes races in Southern California. What are the chances a second level allowance is going to fill?
Exactly. He's back with Mark Glad here, too, off the long layoff. We'll see what we get, because I agree with everything that you sort of laid out when you were talking about him, Dan. He was really good 2 starts back, and I think pretty unlucky not to win that race. He was really good winning the first level allowance before that, just sort of dominated that field. And I don't know what happened last time, but he didn't get out of the gate and he didn't run. So something went wrong, but he's got races that will give him a real chance in here, and he could be a price.
Radical Right, the number 5, was purchased, I believe, as the sale topper, $260,000. Basic tipped in Timonium December. He was with the now retired Dale Capuano when he finished second in this race. The City of Laurel going 7/8 of a mile. He's more of a late running sprint type. We see him on the outside in here. It's worth noting that the horse that beat him saved all the ground through the turn and into the stretch, and he's pretty good. Little Vic's come back and placed twice in stakes in New York with buyers of 93 and 94.
Yeah, Little Vic's okay. There's nothing wrong with him. Little Vic also got a really good trip in this race. Little Vic's actually the horse that's beaten this horse twice, the 2 losses since they switched him to dirt recently. He was second best to Little Vic both times. In between, he did win. I kind of felt like he would need to take a step forward if he was going to win this race, Dan, but maybe the race will set up. There's some speed for him to run at.
Radical Right did finish ahead of 3 next out winners in that last start. He'll now make his first appearance for Peter Miller. Flavian Pratt takes them out. McLaren Vale also went through the auction ring over the winter. He sold for $200,000 at Keeneland November, and he's raced once since then, and I thought it was a useful effort. It was the race we saw early on with Hopkins, and I think he gained a lot of fitness from that race, Mike. He was sort of down inside. They let him finish up on his own. I think he could take a step forward off that effort.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dan. We'll see if he's going to be able to do that. He worked really, really hard in that race just to keep up with the leaders, and he just couldn't gain any ground through the stretch, but he didn't lose any ground either. I thought all in all, as a return from a little layoff, it was probably a pretty good starting off point.
Top pick time for the Palos Verdes at Santa Anita. Straight no chaser, lot of potential. Obviously, in last race, a little bit unlucky after the break and takes a big class drop.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I just want to see how they bet this race, Dan. I didn't think that he was going to be the kind of price that I see on the morning line right now at 5-1. But if he's 5-1 in this race, I'm betting it.
And if Howbeit is 2-1, I'm not betting. I expect Howbeit to maybe go up a little bit higher. He's faced some really good competition. This pace could be solid. He's tactical enough and adaptable enough to sort of work out any kind of trip. 1, 2, 3, 6 for Mike, 3, 5, 1, 6 for me. The Palos Verdes, who's willing to take a step up the ranks in the sprint division? We'll find out on Sunday. Good luck.